So that's how I did law and taxation. My father said, you try, can you study both? I said, yeah, I'll try. So by thinking I of course, finally I didn't pass in the first attempt, but in inter I got through clearly. Finally, it took an extra year to finish my thing. But I finished it. I was only junior at that point of time. Now, how to develop practice? I read a book by O.C. Mazangav in British Council. By the time when I joined law college, in the Connemara library was a full section on legal biographies. So I was wondering, how did these people become great? M.C. Setalvad, Kadju, the Kadju's grandfather, Mr. Kadju, the first law minister, then, C.K. Daftari. They all book Hidayatullah, their books are there, plus all the English biographies are there, American biographies, a beautiful section. So because law college used to be on strike off and on, I used to always go there and sit and borrow the books, and I read everything, and I got a black diary where I made extensive notes of the important passages. I realized that in the bar you can't advertise. So who knows Arvind Datar in Madras? I'm no family member of the lawyer. I don't even know the Tamil language. So the only way is you have to get known. So there's a book by O.C. Mazangav in the British Council, small book about hints to advocates. He puts a sentence which I have also noted in my diary. He says, get known, young man. Get favorably known if possible, but get known. So the only way to develop was, I said, what to do. Then they said, Palkiola wrote his first book before he was 30. So I said, I'll also write a national book by I am 30. Just out of the blue. So then how to do it? I joined law, then I joined Ramamani. I decided in the law college, I said 1 year law, 1 year civil law, 3 years tax. On the 4th year, I'll start my own practice. On 1980, I joined the bar. On the 4th year of my practice, 84, it was a leap year. It was exactly 4 years since I joined the bar. I told Ramani in January I'm leaving. He was quite shocked because nobody had left his office before me. So, except V. Ramchandran.
20 years before Datar left, man.
Yes, yes. He said, no, are you unhappy? I said, no, sir, I want to start my own practice. Because I said, if what I learn in 4 is enough, and it will be 5x, 6x, I have to sooner than start. So with 1,400 rupees in my pocket and the new bride, I gave my resignation and I left on the 1st of March. What to do? So I said, by the Antraman was a great help, or Antraman who taught law.
Yeah.
So my income was teaching all these classes. By the time Bharatdas Institute started, they were paying decent amount for teaching. So I set a goal of writing 1 article a week. And in 104 weeks, I wrote 77 articles, excluding time for my marriage and honeymoon and all that. I wrote 77 articles in 1 week. Now, I'm just sharing my experience. There was no internet in those days. They had that 5¼ floppy, you know that? So I bought Shiva computer, 20,000 for the computer, and if you get some GB hard disk, 10,000 more. I didn't have money, so somebody said you must put an air conditioner. So I said if I buy the hard disk, then I can't buy the AC. So I bought the computer and bought a second-hand Acare air conditioner for 8,000 rupees. So my budget was 30,000, that's all. I had taken a Karnataka bank loan because I didn't want to take money from my father, so I did that. So every Thursday, that 500, remember that soft floppy used to be there? So the soft floppy, my clerk would drop it at Hindu office and go on. I had set a target of writing an article a week. You will not believe me. Till Tuesday, Wednesday, I did not know what to write. I had a box in the business line in Excel. Suddenly, like some bee buzzing, Wednesday morning you get up, and then zing, some new topic will come. And by Wednesday evening you write it, and Thursday morning somehow you type it, because I had my typist Sitaram, he joined me in 81. And I remember I was getting 300 rupees in Ramani and his salary was 150. So, and he used to come at 5:30 in the morning every day till 1994. So from 81 to 94, rain, shine, 7 days a week till I got married. After that, 6 days a week. 5:30 to 7:30, Sitaram would be there. So in the morning on Thursday, one article will be written, and I never missed a deadline. So what I'm saying is, I don't know if it's God or divinity or whatever you call it. If you set a goal, something happens and it works. Then I said I must write this book, nationally known book by 30. I didn't want to write without getting disrespect. I said I want to write rent tax or something. I want to write a nationally known book. I surveyed the scene. I said, when I set my own practice, there's no way I can compete with Ramamani, K. Srinivasan, Swaminathan. No, who's going to come to me? Which chartered accountant is going to brief me when they get Ramamani and others. My luck was 86, Central Excise came, Jha Committee came, Modvat came. I had read another good book by a fantastic person called Jim Slater. He wrote a book. Jim Slater's specialty was, he was the first person who did asset stripping. He would take companies, buy them, strip their assets and make a fortune. And he, in his book, he writes about what is called the Zulu principle. Zulu principle. He says that if you write something about the, what you call, matrimonial habits of Protestants in New England, there are thousands of people because the pilgrims went there. There is so much of literature about the American freedom movement and so on. But if you write some book about the matrimonial habits of the Zulu tribe in Madagascar, nobody is there. You'll be the only master there. So I said, exercises are bad. There's no book on exercise except R.K. Jain's that book. I said, I can't compete with these people. And Parasaran's father Keshav told me that, yeah, now sorry to tell you, unless you do puja and chartered account option, whichever path to go. So I said, all right. So, sorry, but I'm drinking the food. So I said, all right, so the only way to do is excise, because the new branch. Then I realized that excise has come, it is now applicable, and excise has outstripped. I studied the budget. I said, excise is slowly outpacing the thing. And my luck, 82, excise tribunal had started, bench in Madras. SIGAT, gold control. So I said, so that's how I said, what book to write? I wrote a book on excise. So I had set a target of writing a nationally known book. And by the way, then my publisher came. He said, "Saab, एक बढ़िया Supreme Court judge का forward लिखते हैं." I said, "हमको नहीं चाहिए." I said, "Unless Palkhiwala or Sirva writes, nobody should touch my book. If their ideas, otherwise nobody should write." He was very upset. He said, "No." I said, "No, don't publish my book. I don't want anybody to write for it. Only I have Palkhiwala or Sirva." So I went to Bombay. I met Palkhiwala. I said, "This is the book I'm writing." He said, "Yeah, I'll write." Then later on I met him. He said, "I'm sorry, I'm just rushing some Geneva or somewhere. I'll write a commendation, but I can't write a foreword." My publisher not willing to wait for that commendation. So the book was published without his foreword or anything, and the book was just published as it is. Luckily, it was the only book in the market. So it sold like hotcakes because excise became very popular. There was no other book. So I used to joke with my wife that this is the only book. So I'm Miss World, I'm Miss Universe, I'm Miss Photogenic, everything is only Arvind Datar because there's nobody else. And to tell you people that excise book changed my fortune. In 1 year, my income quadrupled. And I never looked back after that. So I keep telling my book, I've told Arvind Pandey and all those people, I said, you write a book, your destiny will change. Because how else will you get known? Another thing was addressing seminars and conferences. The Management Study Center was there, Vijay Raghava was retired. We used to have budget lectures everywhere. Then I spoke at so many seminars. So that's how slowly I got known. And then they said, okay, fine. If Central Excise, it goes to Datar. But I had set a target. I said, this is not just for me. I said that I don't want to be in the tribunal all my life. I have to move. There's another book called Passages by Gail Sheehy. All these books have helped me. Passages by Gail Sheehy. My mother gave me the book. She says every 7 years of your life is a significant period. And you want to keep on evolving. You want to keep on evolving. Now you mentioned I stopped NCLT. I started after my exercise book. Sorry to digress. After my exercise book was a big success. Ramaya was in doldrums. So my publisher was happy with my book selling. He said, "Saab, can you do company that?" And how he came to me was, I was doing winding up petition in the Madras High Court. I had Ramaya, I had AR manual. And I found that 9 cases were in the AR manual but missed in Ramaya. So I wrote to the publisher, I said, look, you have missed out all these cases. So he met me in Sitaraman and Company and said that, can you update Ramaya? I said, let me finish exercise first. After exercise it went well, he asked me to Ramaya. So then next project I took up, Ramaya. Exercise came in 88, 91, Ramaya. But much of the credit goes to my teammates, Murari, Lakshmi Raghavan, all had a fantastic team of 10 youngsters. We all updated Ramaya and Ramaya was completely revised. And our luck was that J.C. Shah was the Chief Justice of, retired Chief Justice, and he had a huge opinion practice. And whatever I did, I would collect everything, make it and send it to J.C. Shah. He would make extensive corrections. Subsequently, neither Chandrachud nor anybody did anything. But J.C. Shah did something phenomenally, did a lot of work on the book. So Ramaya came out. The year 91 Ramaya came out, CLB started. Look at how destiny plays. So I was the editor of Ramaya and CLB came. So I had a huge amount of work. I remember East-West Airlines used to be there in those days. And I used to go to Delhi for virtually matters. And a lot of people in Chennai, minority shareholders, no money, so they'll give X amount of money, take East-West flight. There used to be a bus, ex-serviceman's bus, and take it to Connaught Place because you couldn't afford a taxi. Because he had given us so much money, only that's all, minority shareholder, what can you do? So Ramaya helped me. Then once I started going to CLB, I started appearing in more and more matters, and virtually every week I was going to Delhi for the CLB. Then the Indian Express battle, this battle, that battle, almost, as he said, without showing off. Most of the important case I'll be either for some respondent, somewhere will be there, because CLB is a small world, just like income tax is a small world. Ramamani, K. Srinivasan, Swaminathan, a couple of people. Similarly, Sudipto Sarkar.
That's all. Sudipto Sarkar versus Datar.
No, Sudipto Sarkar, Gopal Mukherjee, Sen, this Jolu Sen, Gopal Mukherjee. There were 7-8 of us, and then from Bombay is Daraz Khambata, one gang, then Pratap Chatterjee. So basically 8-10 of us in the same group, and we used to do all the cases against each other. Shastri Bone all the time. Then this passage of Gail Shi was every 7 years you must change. I said, look, where do I want to be? Do I want to be in the CLB all the time? And I also decided in law college I'll write a book on the constitution. So that I started in Ramaya got over 91 and 2 editions. 97 I started the constitution. Incidentally, for your interesting information, when I started writing the exercise book, I'm also a Freemason. There was the Golden Jubilee of the Grand Lodge in Ashoka Hotel in 1986. My father took the flight. I couldn't afford the flight, so I took GT. I started writing the book on the top floor of the top berth of GT. That's all right. So similarly, I said I must now take up Constitution. So I started writing in 96 or 97. 2001, the Constitution came. I started getting more and more of constitutional work. I started going to Supreme Court off and on. And so on and so forth. Then I said that I have to take a call. 2004 Tamil News Day, I said no more CLB, finish. I had to put a stop to it. And I took it, at the peak of my practice, I said no CLB. When I became a senior, I said, I cut down tribunal drastically. I couldn't say no, but slowly. And then I've planned it. So what I'm saying is, whatever we do has to be in a planned way. Now, why I've stuck to Supreme Court? Because a lot of matters there. Now, I don't want to go back to CLB. Nothing wrong with it, but I've taken a call and focused on tax and constitution. You say, why are you in Aadhaar and this? Because once the people know that you're a lawyer who does constitutional matters, then you are bound to get that work. If you do everything else, then it will be a difficult thing. So, this is the kind of journey I had. And if I will just tell you the 5-6 principles which I think I lack, but I'm trying to do my best to do. One, at the age of 60 plus, I think if there is one factor which is most important, it is self-discipline. It is just self-discipline, and that's the very, very at the core. If I were asked to say of all the things, what is most important, it is self-discipline. With self-discipline comes time management, daily consistent action, weekly reviews of your goal. At the moment, I'm telling you, I'm studying visualization. Visualization. That is, there are various techniques, there are a lot of videos on the YouTube. How do you visualize? You see where you want to be. Then there's projection technique is there, cinema theatre technique is there. So there are various techniques, I won't have time now. But this is one thing I'm trying to do to improve myself by the theory of visualization. You visualize the end object, and then you realize that if I have to be, say for example, suppose I want to be a bodybuilder, for example, say. Then I visualize myself with all those muscles and all that. Then what I have to do, again the same principle, how do I do? You visualize yourself with all those muscles. Then to be that kind of person, what you should be? Eat healthy food, eat protein, work in the gym for 4 hours, like that. So that visualization helps you to change the habits today. So right now I'm at the moment doing a lot of study on visualization. That's my thing. And I will tell you one thing. Please see YouTube videos, very inspirational. Very inspirational. Other good book you must read, which I've just recently read, is Cal Newport. It's called Deep Work. Deep Work. Deep work versus shallow work. He says most of us are in shallow work mode. We get constantly interrupted. I never knew that if I'm working and you call me on the cell phone and I answer the cell phone and I speak to Mr. Ravi, as much as 11 to 16 minutes my mind will have some traces of Ravi because that's called attention residue. So he says when you're doing deep work for your code, 2 hours, slowly increase it 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, shut off everything and focus on that. And according to Cal Newport, he says you can't have more than 4 hours of deep work. You'll be exhausted because you'll work that much of intensity. So constantly see these YouTube videos, maintain a diary. I've got this book, I'll show you. I saw this just to give you an example of what I do. So I was watching the YouTube video on visualization and I made all my pencil notes. So like that, because you forget, because if you listen and you forget 98%, when you write it, a huge amount of retention is there. So I'm not showing off, but I'm just telling you, I saw a visualization video and immediately I noted 16 points. Wonderful video. So I'll have more and more notes on different visualizations and I'll summarize it into the 6-7 points and keep it. Then after some time there will be some new technique for improvements. There's a thing called KANAI, constant and never-ending improvement. And there's a Japanese theory that if you improve 1% per day, at the end of the year you will not improve 365%, you will improve 450% because of the compounding effect. Yeah. So this is what I wanted to say. Sorry I spoke about myself, but I want to, yeah. So I decided to write a book on constitution exercise. Then this Kanga Particular was an unplanned thing. I never expected to edit Kanga and Particular. But after Dinesh Vyas, something happened, so they said you have to take it up. So my book, my constitution book came in 2007. It should have come in 2011, 2012. Because of Kanga, it got derailed. Now my edition is 10 years. I expect to finish it this year. Then again I start Kanga. So this is the story. 7
Yeah.
Any questions you can ask me?
One or two things which he is not pointing out. He doesn't waste a single minute. Vadva himself told me once, when Mr. Datar did not even have a two-wheeler, that he used to sit and correct all his whatever brief or whatever he wanted to correct, even in the bus he was correcting. That he never, therefore he went by a bus where he would get a seat so that he can keep working.
Actually, a slight change. What used to happen was, when I wrote my book, I had to go to Nagpur for, very interesting story. We don't know how life has changed. The proofs used to come to Chennai and there was no courier service to Nagpur. So my wife and I would go to Central Station in that Tunipai, Nalli, some Tunipai, yellow color Tunipai, give all the proofs to that pantry car waiter, some Muttu, Murugan, somebody will be, all trains go through Nagpur and my publisher is in Nagpur. So if Tamil Nadu Express used to leave at night, so give to that pantry car waiter, then come back and stand in the line and the STD booth will be there. Bring the STD booth, call Nagpur and said, "Saab, ye Murugan waiter hai." So he'll say, okay. So next day at 2 o'clock, he'll pick up the proof from Murugan. On the return journey, he would give it and give me a call, a speak to him and say, "Subbaya," some waiter. So I couldn't go. So my cook used to go to Central Station and no. And suppose we got late. If you go to Central Station near platform number 2, there are steps going up. There is a big room there where all these people sleep, pantry car waiters sleep. I knew that. I used to go sometimes, my cook was not there, I used to go up that thing, Subbaya, and Subbaya will get up. Or I'd give 10 rupees, take that thing and go home. That was how we did the book, So, what used to happen was, very, very inquisitive lot. You sit in a chair, enna pandringa hai? Nalla practice. Immediately start asking how much you are earning. And you notice when you go in the flight, nobody speaks. In business class, you won't speak to each other. Even with a snob. But you go to second class, how are you, what are you earning? He wants to know right from your, there is some details, everything, and very friendly. So, I used to always ask for an upper berth, and they'll be very happy to give me the upper berth. The advantage of upper berth was, if you go to second class compartment, there'll be those 2 white lights and that small blue light, that night lamp. When you go in the upper berth, that light is closer to you, so it's easier to read without eye strain. And secondly, nobody asks you silly questions. So that's how I used to do the proofs on the trains. Yeah. And even now in the Supreme Court, last week I was waiting for a tax matter before Nariman and Kaur. Youngster sitting next to me is playing a game on the phone. I just kept quiet, but I said, he's gone. He's going nowhere in life. 40 minutes, I don't know what, that arrow goes there, then something and ching, some light burns. Again, he's playing some game. Obviously, he's killed somebody or shot somebody and he's got a score or something. It's a sad thing. So I always tell my juniors, I tell everybody, please carry some ELT, ITR, something with you, and don't waste that time.
He doesn't waste 1 minute of his time. I tell you, recently, maybe about 6 weeks back or so, Mr. Datar, myself, and there were 3 other advocates, 2 of them senior. All of us were traveling from Delhi to Chennai, Jet Airways, 4 o'clock. The moment he came, he put one small bag, took out some books, started scribbling something. God knows what he was writing, but he was writing something. Of course, takeoff and landing I never read, but I was reading some other unconnected with professional subjects. He did not waste his time. Even after the aircraft landed, came, parked itself, he had yet not closed his book. The other 3 also did not waste their time. They gave themselves adequate rest.
No, actually, what happens at Delhi flight, I tell you frankly, the Delhi flight 2 hours 40 minutes is 2 hours uninterrupted work. There is no phone, etc. You got a clean work. And I also plan, you see, what happens is, from takeoff till first 20 minutes, you can't do electronic stuff. So I normally do printed material reading. When the seatbelt sign is off, then I use my laptop. Again, when landing, again I go back to printed reading.
That day you were correcting some, you were going through
and
some.
what I do is at night, when I'm going by, because I come every week to Chennai, it's a 1 hour journey from this thing. So I schedule all my calls. And if I'm going to come at the late night flight, then I listen to I plan all the YouTube videos I'm going to see. I've got a small Airtel mode. So I see all those videos on the internet. That's it. Anyway. Any questions you can ask me? I'm sorry, I hope I'm not bored you with.
No. See, I had a chance to speak to